Hi, guys. This is Doug Jessup with Family Heritage Stories with my favorite kind of story, a love story with these two. So, Jan and Chris Meister. Okay. So, a lot of the time I like to ask couples how they met, and the husband and wife don't always tell the exact same version. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay. Jan, it's your turn. Okay. How did you guys meet?
Well, when I was living in El Paso, there was a little bit of a recession going on, and it was getting difficult to find work. So I talked it over with my dad a little bit. He encouraged me to start looking at sales.
Okay.
I had no experience in sales at all. And so I ended up working for the Fuller Brush Company, going door to door, selling household cleaning products to housewives that stay at home. And as luck would have it, one of the doors that I knocked on, Chris answered it. And when she answered it, she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. She really was. And so I don't know what possessed me, but I had enough guts to actually go back and ask her out on a date. And she told me it's because she had just come home from that movie Jaws.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was so traumatic for her that she didn't have the collection to say no when I asked her to go out. So she went out, and the first date we ever had was when we went to the A&W root beer and had frozen root beer in the frosted mugs that they used to do at the drive-in. And that was in July, and by December, we got married.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
didn't go see Jaws for your first date.
No, we didn't go see
Just
Jaws
checking.
right
Okay, now I am just wondering, did you have root beer at your wedding?
We did.
Oh, seriously? That is cool. That is fun. Okay.
Chris is a very deep thinker.
Yes.
And there was a park. Ironically, we both lived on the same street
Oh,
in El
wow.
Paso, and we had never met each other
Wow.
until I tried to sell her a hairbrush. So there was a park close to our house, and we would walk around the park and talk about things. And I said, I'm in love with you, and I'd like to get married. And she said, well, I need to think about it for a day or two. So I gave it one day.
Yeah, and come on.
Then we were walking around the park again, and I said, so what do you think? And she goes, Mr. Meister, I'm inclined to go along with your way of thinking. And that's how she accepted.
Okay, now, admittedly, this is a fun little phrase that I say, okay, and you proved it exactly, okay? Every married man that I know is a salesperson because, I mean, you look at us and then you go look at it, it's like, yeah, right. So, you didn't sell her a hairbrush, but, you sold her on you.
That's
Wow,
right.
that's a good salesman. So now you're married, and so where did married life take you? So where did you, do you remember the first place that you guys lived?
I do. It was on a place in El Paso called Marshmallow Hill.
Really?
Because all of the homes were made out of adobe, and they had painted each one of the homes a pastel color. And for some reason, somebody gave it the nickname of the Marshmallow Hill. And it was on Duke Street in El Paso. That was our first house. And it only had one bedroom. But we could afford it. So we were happy there.
Well, I do know that, Chris is a fan of pastels. So I'm just,
That's right. She is.
so now, how long have you guys been married?
How long has it been?
50 años.
50 years in December the 12th.
Hey,
50 years.
this woman likes to do the años.
She does.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. And, the reality is that right now your kids and your grandkids are watching this. They're going, hey, there's mom, there's dad, there's grandma, oh yeah. What advice? I mean, I mean this in all politeness, but I've been married for a long time too. And well, marriage is definitely worth it. It's not exactly easy. What's been the secret for you guys? What makes it do what you do? I mean, what's made it successful?
Well, I think we both put effort but with so many times real values, real worth, people get strayed off of those things. And the world is going through a lot of changes now with real priorities. And that's one thing we never wanted to do, because I think of our firstborn daughter is, I think of her personality. She's a wonderful girl. She really is. She now has 3 children too. And I wouldn't, the real values I want us to keep, because the way the world is now in so many ways has changed.
Yeah.
And what you learn about divinity, what you learn about, I just looking in as far as art goes, just painting the hills or a valley that's full of, could we make that? But and I tell myself, but there it is. It's right there. So not to be aware of what kind of a...
Remember where you came from, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So how many kids do you guys have?
We have 2 daughters
Okay.
and 7 grandchildren.
Okay. Now, I have learned not to ask grandfathers about this, but I'm going to put you on the spot anyway. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay. And you got the fact checker next to you. Okay.
Yes.
Your daughter's names are?
Michelle and Jessica.
Hello, Michelle and Jessica. Okay. So Michelle and Jessica apparently have children as well, otherwise
Yes,
known as
thank
the
you.
awesomest thing in the world, which is grandkids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
You have how many grandkids?
We have 7.
Okay. Do you think you can see? I won't ask you birthday. I have no. I'm sorry. I love my grandkids, but I have no idea what their birthdays are. But I know them all. So, what are your grandkids' names?
Wilder is the youngest. She'll be 5 on Thursday.
Ah, yeah. Happy birthday.
And then Sloan is the next one, and her birthday is in February.
Oh, see, you're gonna really stand me up here. It's just like, wow. Okay.
No, he
Okay, keep
remembers
going.
very good.
That's two.
Yeah, Rooney also has a birthday in February. And then we have Tegan, whose birthday is in November. And those are the 4 children of Jessica.
Okay.
And then we have Zachary, who is the oldest son of Michelle, our oldest daughter. His birthday is easy because he was born on Halloween.
Well, there you go.
So that was easy. And then his younger brother is Ben, who just graduated from Utah State University. And his birthday is in May.
Right.
And we have Sarah, whose birthday is also in November.
Okay. I'm just gonna say, go Aggies. Okay. Just a second.
Yes, there you go.
It's a little bias there. Okay. So, now the thing that I look at is, to me, and again, it's just kind of who I am, but to me, the grandkids are just like awesome because, and somebody told me this, it's that I hadn't really thought of. The reason why you love your grandkids so much is because basically you see your kids in their faces.
Yep.
Okay. Now, with Chris, with you being a painter and everything, have any of your kids or grandkids kind of come to you and said, help me do something art wise?
Pretty much all of them.
Yeah, I kind of.
No, not
Ben
this.
was the first. He came when he was just in elementary school.
Yeah.
He came over to our house one day and he says, Grandma, can you help me learn how to draw a picture?
Ah.
And she did. And since then, Rooney has asked and Wilder have both asked to help. Or a lot of times when we're together, we'll play Pictionary and Everybody draws
Well,
straws.
yeah.
Who gets Chris? Yeah.
Of course.
So it does.
No.
Well, yeah, okay. I am going to tease you, okay? Because
Okay.
here's the thing.
That's
You know, we have on our refrigerator, okay, we have pictures that our grandkids have drawn, okay? Do your grandkids have pictures that grandma has drawn on their refrigerators?
You know they do.
Yeah, of
Chris.
course they do.
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. The person very creative. When she sends a birthday card, a lot of times she'll draw a
Oh,
picture on
fun.
there. Especially for like Wilder, who's only 5,
Yeah.
quite reading everything, but she knows those pictures. And the last time we sent one, Jesse called us up and says, "I just want you to know that Sloan insisted she put that picture on the refrigerator."
There you Well, those are collector. I mean, just saying, those are collector cards. Okay. Now, you said you were a salesperson, and we had an in-depth interview, with Chris about her art and everything. But I kind of want to explore a little bit with you. So you were a salesperson, and you got married, and you did all this stuff, and you literally. It still blows my mind that you guys lived on the same street,
I know.
didn't know each other.
Yeah.
But what did you do? After as because we're how should we put it? People of a certain age, and you got to pay the bills somehow. So what did you do in later life?
I ended up in technology sales.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Before the internet came along in 1990,
Oh, yeah.
I was in advertising sales, working with the phone company and selling ads in the phone book.
Really?
And but of course, I saw the internet coming along. I realized that when I went to college, there was no internet, so I needed to go back to school and learn a little bit about it. So I was fortunate that I was working for a company that had a tuition reimbursement program.
Oh, nice.
So I was able to go back and get a background in networking and computer science and programming in a couple of different programming languages. And then the company I was working for, they paid for it all.
Wow.
So that was awesome because the internet did come along and pretty much wiped out the yellow page industry.
Yeah. Well, and from
Yeah.
what I understand, this internet thing, a birdie tells me it might actually stick around.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
you started in Texas, and don't say train, plane, or automobile, but how in the world did you get to Utah?
Well, I'll tell you, we always had fallen in love with Utah. And Chris's mother had relocated to Utah
Okay.
and taken Chris's younger sister with her. And they were living in Provo. So we were kind of looking around in El Paso and thought, gee, Utah's really a beautiful state. We've been up there for vacation. So we just took a leap of faith and quit. We put our pregnant horse in a trailer.
Wow.
And this is the funnest story we have telling, is that we didn't realize that trailer had no shock absorbers on.
No.
It was a solid axle trailer.
Uh-huh.
Every time you hit a bump, it wanted to jump through the air.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So we were limited. We drove from El Paso, Texas to Provo, which is about 850 miles. And we never went over 50 miles an hour.
Well, yeah, I'd be afraid that the horse is going to deliver, Like, wow.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah. 3 days later, we finally got to Provo.
So what was the name of the horse that you brought from Texas?
What'd you name her? And why? You got to tell them.
Which horse are you talking about?
Your horse, the mare.
Medianoche?
No, the other horse, Tootie.
Oh, Tootie, yeah. She
Named her
was.
Tootie because
Okay, I could see the
Okay.
joke coming. Wow. Okay.
yeah,
So apparently, horses have flatulence.
there you go.
Okay, that's a flat way to put it. Okay, gotcha.
She was a sweetheart. She was. She really was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I worked in Yellowstone for 2 summers when I was going to BYU.
Oh, fun. What'd you do up there?
I worked at West Thumb, and I was just, they had a dorm there,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked they had a little store up there. It was near the lake.
Did you get to do any painting while you were up there?
I got to get a lot of reference material.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, it was wonderful. I have a painting right now that there are no buffalo that you can see in the wild anymore.
Right.
Yellowstone, there are lots of them.
True.
And so I've got a painting with 3 buffalo in it. and a little stream going down with steam coming out like the geysers in Yellowstone did. And it was truth there. I remember one event, I stayed in a dorm up there, and they had cooks that were, I didn't have to pay for the dorm, but they left the back door open because it was hot when you cook and everything like. One day, the door was to the outside, a bear came in.
Yep.
And I remember everybody that was working in that cooking area went flying out the front door.
Yeah. They did not want to be Yogi's meal.
No.
No, it's like, okay, yeah. Wow.
Oh.
So you actually, and I should have asked you this earlier, but reference material. So when you're up at Yellowstone, are you taking pictures? Are you doing sketches? What?
Both.
Okay.
Everything,
Yeah.
And you have to, because you see, most of it, I was working, it was a long time, but it was a good area. And West Thumb was about 17 miles from Old Faithful, which was the geysers on the west end, And, but all those unique experiences that were there, I couldn't not get reference material for them,
Okay.
but.
So 50 years. Wow. Okay, I know. I mean, because considering the fact that none of us up here are 50 years old, I mean, I don't know how it happened, right?
Don't know.
But what does it mean? I mean, because the reality is sometimes there's milestones in life, okay? And let's get real, 50 is a big number. And, and today, like you said, in today's world, not a lot of people make it, to 50 years of marriage. What does it mean? What does this anniversary mean to you guys?
To me, it means everything. Our grandkids are just the most wonderful things to have in your life. Nothing puts a smile on my face than when that phone rings and it's one of my grandkids. And they go, "Grandpa?" Can't
They are.
describe that. Well, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. It's worth more than anything anybody could ever come up with on a monetary scale. You just can't put a price on it. But knowing that Chris has been there through the whole time. And Chris, when I met Chris, she had a lot. She was already a college graduate. She already had her teacher's certificate. She only was 8 hours short of getting her master's degree. And I was just a total loser. I mean, I had.
You weren't. I
Oh,
know.
you did hit the jackpot. I'm just saying,
No,
I
he
did get that.
No,
So
he wasn't a
a
loser.
chance on me. And I've never forgotten that gratitude.
No, he wasn't a loser. He wasn't. Well, I think
I was a slow starter.
no, you weren't. You were, he, I've learned so many things from him. He is real nobility of character, real manhood. He's not like a lot of what you see around, but real character. He's a sweet, precious father and grandfather, and he's taught his children and grandchildren a lot of things that are really worth knowing. And
Well, you guys epitomize something that's kind of interesting to me. It's like, okay, when you're young, okay, you got all the hormones and everything like that, and everything's wonderful, great. But as you get older, you start learning what's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And to be able to
yeah,
know you got somebody there with your back. And, you guys obviously are just like the sweetest little love story. What's next?
We can't wait to see what our grandkids turn into and to see the story that unfolds with them. Ben just graduated from Utah State in May. And so he's just getting started with a career, and he's not married yet. And, he's still looking for that perfect companion. And Zachary is in the same, they're just now kind of building up, and we just can't wait to see what happens next
Yeah.
and how we're going to be able to help with anything that might come up. It's really exciting. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to do the interview. And so one of the things that's always bothered me about my dad, and I love my dad, but he was not born in America. He spent 5 years in Holland when Germany occupied Holland during World War II. And it was him and his father and his entire family went through 5 solid years of German occupation when 18,000 people in Holland starved to death because Hitler cut off all the food and supplies to that country. And my dad was an eyewitness to that, and he never talked about it. He never wrote any of it down. And I have always thought how wonderful it would be if he had done or been able to do an interview like this and talk about those historical events that he was an actual eyewitness to. He was an eyewitness when Hitler came to the Netherlands on his victory after they invaded. And but he never wrote it down, never talked about it. And now it's been long enough that his entire family is deceased. So I don't know if the story that he took with him to the grave will ever, come up.
Well,
but we didn't want to leave our kids without something that they at least would be able to get some kind of understanding of what our lives were about and why we were here, because we realized we're not going to be here forever. But with 7 grandkids, there's a good chance there might be a Meisner running around somewhere. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because, it's a phrase we say in the show a lot. If stories aren't passed down from generation to generation, those people those stories are lost and those people are forgotten.
Yeah.
So you will be remembered. And
I was thinking of when he asked you about the story for your grandma. The one she always tells about, she was a contestant in a beauty contest at BYU.
Really?
And one of the talent or one of the aspects of the contest was that you had to bake something.
Okay.
Chris had never baked anything. And she went and asked Vera, who was a superb cook. And Vera stayed up all night with her to show her how to make an angel food cake. And she never once complained about it.
So that's your grandma, huh?
Yeah.
She was a
And
joy.
that's just one.
She really was.
Well,
She
see,
really
that's the
was.
thing I look at. There is a special bond
Mhm.
between grandkids and grandparents. There really
It
is.
should be.
You and to say, okay, yeah, my grandma helped me bake a cake.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow, that's
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
So, Jen, okay, you've done the sales thing. Your wife is the artist thing. But, sometimes some weird little intersections happen. And a little birdie told me that somehow her art saved your house, as in like literally.
When we were living in El Paso, Texas,
Yeah.
we had not been married maybe a couple of years, I think. And I kept looking at these fantastic artwork coming out. And it was before the mural came along, we got the publicity for it. And I thought, I think I could sell that stuff. Well, I went out the first month and nothing happened. So we missed our house payment. We missed our house payment the second month. The third month, I missed it again. And Chris never once asked me, where's the money coming from? Never once. And I just went to a medical building because I knew there were some doctors in it that had artwork in their offices. And so I left some photographs with one of the receptionists of a heart surgeon and who couldn't talk to me because he was in surgery. So the next day, she called me at the office. He said, he wants to meet you. Can you come down 10 o'clock this morning? I said, yeah, sure. So I went down there and I took some samples of some of the things she had done. And he took a look at it and goes, wow, she's really talented. And I said, well, I know that,
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, let me think about it. And so I got home that night and he called us. Now, we had 5 days left to make our house bigger. He called me that night and said, I'd like to bring my wife down to your house, and we'd like to see the studio that your wife works out of. And sure, come on down. So he came down that night with his wife. Everything that was in Chris's art studio, we took it out into the living room so they could see everything. And he looked at it and he goes, man. And his wife goes, yeah, this is pretty good. And then he looked at me right in the eye and he goes, how much for everything?
No way.
I'm not kidding.
Really?
He bought every single thing she had in her studio. It was enough to cover the 3 house payments and have money for the next 6 months.
Good job,
So,
Chris.
yeah, it worked out just fantastic.
Wow. You know, it's God moves in mysterious ways.
That's true.
Wow.
Absolutely,
So cool.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
And we were just thinking, oh, he'll buy one.
That's amazing.
We had a celebration that night that
I bet.
we'll never forget.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if we had a mug of A&W root beer, I would raise it to you right now. So, last question I like to ask, and this is not one that I've asked before to you. I mean, I've asked a lot, but I've not prepped you for this one. Okay, so I apologize because it's a pretty dang esoteric question. And since you kind of brought it up, we all have a time clock. And, okay. 5, 10, 20, whatever years from now. Okay. And, you know, your grandkids are adults. They have families of their own. And if one of my kids or grandkids were to ask them, because I'm not going to be around either, tell me about Grandma and Grandpa. How do you want to be remembered?
You want to answer that one?
Well, I remember my grandmother, and I remember what a sweet, loving, creative, capable person she was. And I remember my grandfather. And one of the things that he did, he built the boat they used at Strawberry. But I remember he also replaced a roof on the chapel building of their ward.
Wow.
And he replaced a number of other roofs and I remember that he did those things. I know that he taught me about a lot of the back roads. As an artist, that's nice because you can learn a lot of things that you would never see in other, places. And so I remember the things that I learned from them. And, my father had a chemical engineering PhD, but he was very good at math. I appreciated his help on occasions too. But the things we can learn from each other are very nice. So, and that's a real good thing about life, if families can really learn from each other about principles of real worth, not just baloney like a lot of the world is now in a lot of ways, but real worth. So I hope we can keep on that road and not go someplace that's a little questionable.
Well, Jen, if it's okay with you, I think we better let her have the last word on this one. So,
I don't know about that.
Okay. With another episode of Family Heritage Stories and an incredible love story with Chris and Jen Meister, I'm Doug Jessup.